In terms of the recruitment policies, those policies were made out and accepted by the government of Guyana, who had British consultants here. And that is what we're working with. In terms of the rigidity, I think the question might be misdirected because, as far as I know, we're adhering to the policies that are laid out, as far as I know.
All right, 21 hours 16 here on the Police and You. Let's turn our attention now to not that so much contentious issue of interdiction, but uh, what about reinstatement, mere reinstatement? So you got a rank who served for some time in the Ghana Police Force for whatever reason, honorable, honorably discharged,
Yes.
and maybe for after a few whether months or years decide that they would like to come back to the Ghana Police Force. They believe that their neighbor string buried here. They want to make this a career now. Uh, is there a second chance, particularly if, especially if it is that they do not have any colored or checkered history during their tenure, that they could actually return to the Ghana Police Force?
Of course, some ranks have been privileged enough to be able to return to the Guyana Police Force. Unfortunately, what the ones or the aggrieved ones um, did not take into consideration is that the force, like any other organization, it's dynamic. And what one may not want or may not be what may not be satisfactory to one person now, or let me put it this way, one man's meat is another man's poison. So the person who would have left for whatever reason, because some of them leave because they have found brighter pastures, and so by the time they think that they have a better offer than the one the force has, there are persons who are desperately in need of a job and would have filled the vacancies. Do you know what would happen to the Guyana Police Force, Stan, if we were able to take back all of them? And let me be quite frank with you and say this. Some of them have left, they're pretty young. So they come back, okay, let's use this scenario. They left, they have a very clean slate, and so they return. And so I'd say, well, so you'd like to come back. What are your qualifications? Oh, well, since I left school. Come on, I mean, since you left school, that's one thing. But you've been gone for 5 years. What have you done in that time? And we have persons who are entering the force who come with diplomas and degrees and who have elevated themselves. Whom would you take?
That makes me now turn to another issue when you talk about diplomas and degrees, and obviously the elevation of oneself. Evidently, the police force trains its members, rank and file, but you're desirous of seeing persons have that personal development, which obviously makes them even more eligible for promotion along the way.
Yes.
There are some persons who you see that maybe for more than a dozen years they're a constable, or they have been, as they say, stuck in a position as a sergeant or a corporal for a dozen years. And for those who, in some cases, they say it is because of where they are stationed, so they're not necessarily in the limelight to be seen and to have the recompense of being justly promoted. How do you address that?
Well, One of the reasons, like you said, you pointed out, it's because of locality. That is one. And the other thing is, you have to remember, Stan, that where the administration sits, we request recommendations. Now, if that rank is not recognized by the divisional or branch commander, how can the administration even make an attempt to elevate that rank in status? Another thing, they do absolutely nothing to deserve elevation. They're just there. No, like the ones who would really love to join the force, they're just moving through with the tides. No one, they're not stopping to think, oh, it's a dynamic world in which we live. Let me elevate myself. Let me push to go to this school. Let me push to go. They don't want to do that. And so they're left behind. And so you find that other persons who come and have qualifications and make themselves marketable, they're the ones who are going to be recommended for promotion. But also, in like manner, there are others who, because we have the system of transferring, because the Ghana Police Force is not only in Georgetown or in the
Countrywide,
regions,
yeah.
exactly, right? They have it. But for some reason or the other, they are not recognized. I do not believe it is deliberate, but that's just one of the things that happen.
There is a consideration by some that the scale used for recommendations for promotion needs to be reviewed. Whilst it might be out of your hand, let me just share the scenario. It is felt that those who are the first contact of the Ghana Police Force to the members of the public
Yes.
are the ones who will most likely not necessarily have a clean slate. They will, from time to time, have charges or accusations or allegations, whether it's a traffic rank, oh, he tried to take a bribe, oh, he stopped me wrongfully, oh, he did this, or whether it is an arresting rank in an investigating matter, and somebody said, "Oh, you sent a man when it was supposed to be a woman to arrest me, and he hold me, and he's supposed to touch this woman." And that kind of thing, and they go to the police OPR, and that rank has to now defend themselves. Some ranks feel, evidently, that they are at a disadvantage to those ranks who work particularly in an office setting and are not facing members of the public, and they see many of them advancing rapidly, whilst they don't have that slate that they would have to clean before any promotion. Is that something that could be considered to make sure that it's two different levels, evidently, based on what is happening, that they could operate on?
Of course it can, and I'm quite sure it's being addressed by the admin. The thing is, what you are saying, it is true. And because they're like first responders, for want of a better word, that can happen. But I do believe that in some instances, having the kind of experience of working in that environment, some more caution could be taken. Some of what goes on can be avoided.
As in terms of,
Some of the allegations that are made by the ranks. And of course, we know people go and they lie on our ranks. They do.
yeah, you know, of some of those
Yes,
cases.
they do. Because if they have a grouse with a rank, oh, good, I go in and call your name. I know somebody. This is what I'm going to do. That, and but it does happen.
And when you talk about, they calling names, one of the things that obtained before, and people did say sometimes it's what the police force would have brought upon itself, in terms of bringing its ranks into disrespect or disrepute is when a member of the public is going to decide, you know what, so a rank stops him, let's just say it's a traffic offense, stops him or her on the road, and they pull out their phone and they decide, well, I know the deputy superintendent who's going to get me off. So they call the person and say, well, you know, so rank just stopped me. And that person tells them to let that person go. Right? What ends up happening in some cases is that citizen now looks on that rank who's doing their work and becomes very disrespectful to them. Um, what would you say to seniors who actually extend such privileges to their either family or colleagues of the public that would make ranks be that embarrassed?
Um, what can I say to them? The thing is, Stan, everyone deserves to call whomever they know. And it's all about how you handle it. Because let me tell you this. There are you might find an instance where the person, yes, the person commits a breach. You do not have, the rank does not have to be hostile, but sometimes that happens. Then there's this time when we have to have some form of mediation. And it is in that mediation sometimes the people will take out their phone and they will call whomever they know. How it goes from then, there on, well, that's another story. But that is something that no one can stop.
And that's one of the
People,
those are some of
people
the
will
extremes.
call
Yeah, but those are some of
whomever
the
they know.
those are some of the extremes. You will agree, Deputy Superintendent. In some cases, some people even abuse it. I know the Deputy Superintendent, so I drive around the road and I will make sure that I drive at above the speed limit. And ain't no boy or girl could call me or stop me, because since they stop me, I calling you. Because you can let them know that you're a Deputy Superintendent and hey, you must let this person go. There's some people who obviously will abuse that. And not just abuse it, but then they look and they treat that rank with disdain and disrespect. Those are some of the
It
situations.
happens, it happens, and I do know that the administration is making several headways to try to deal with those kind of things because, like I said, they will call. They will call.
I know some commanders say don't
And
call their phone. They
yes,
don't play. They
some
just.
commanders they would say that, but the people will call. It's like if you go into the bank and the line is long or there's this huge crowd and you need help and you know someone there, you will cry for help. How it is dealt with, that's another story.
I cry for help and actually doing wrong, being caught doing wrong sometimes.
The thing is, what I know persons, they are there, they tell them to take them to the station. You have to process them.
Mhm.
They have to be processed, and then thereafter,
Let the chips fall where they may.
where they may. Yes.
All right.
But it's difficult not to, it's a very contentious question you asked of me. And, you know, I think you tried to put me on the spot, but people will call. Regardless of what we say or do, they will call because everyone knows someone else.
And as you say, people will call. I'll ask you to put on your headphone right now. The phone lines are ringing, so that we can take this call and see what the people are calling about at 21 hours 30 here on the Police and You. Caller, a very good evening to you.
Hello, good afternoon, Stan. Good afternoon. I'm a regular listener to your program, Police and You. I am from Pomeroon.
Pomeroon, good night.
But here, one thing, my credit is very low. Can I get the superintendent's number private so I can discuss matter with her?
Certainly.
Yes, my number
Pardon me?
Listen for the number. She's giving it to you.
is 632-1204. 632-1204.
All right. You got that,
Thank you.
okay? You're welcome.
Oh, six, 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 six,
Six
three,
three two
six, three,
two
six, 632.
1204. Do you have that, sir?
I think his credit just died at that juncture. But of course, you can call us, particularly those of you who are members of the Ghana Police Force, and have a chance to talk with the Deputy Superintendent, who is the second in command of administration here at the Ghana Police Force. Caller, good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Stan, and a very good evening to her. She seems
Yes.
to be a very intelligent person.
Yeah, the police.
Mm.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, when you listen to her, she seems to be a very intelligent person. Yeah, and she just said that when you go into the bank, you cry for help, and you get help. The police officer in Guyana, they are crying for help themselves. They need more money to go on with their lives. So they cannot deliver to the people of this country. That is a big problem. The ministers getting millions of dollars, and people have to protect us and serve us. Police officers, peace officers, petty cash they take it home. So they are trying for help themselves. Number two, the police get a set of vehicle in Mr. Granger time, brand new vehicle, madam. And now the government is saying that we hadn't no vehicle then. How much drivers you had in Mr. Granger time and how many drivers you have now? A good night to you. Great respect to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for coming through, caller. So, I believe you got two situations there, if it is that you could answer.
Well, sir, we have had quite a number of, we had a fleet of vehicles that were issued. And, like everything else, wear and tear, things happen. But we still have vehicles and we do have drivers for those vehicles. And now we have an additional, the force has been um, obtaining quite a few more. But thank you so much for your concern. We all know that the the salary of the policemen and women in Guyana, we cannot be compared to any other country, but that is also on stream to be addressed in the near future. Thank you so much for your concerns, sir.
All right. Second in command of administration, one of the things that I want to go to before we open the phone lines again would be as it relates to transfer of ranks across the length and breadth. there is the perception by some that if it is that the administration wants to sideline them, they will transfer them to certain locales. Whilst there are those who will see that as an opportunity. And I say this because even before joining the Ghana Police Force, you would always hear they call, I believe it was, what's the section again where with the animals, uh,
The mounted branch
mounted branch.
compound.
Most members of the public would call it a pen. And
Uh-huh.
they seem to think, well, oh, that is where that person is going to end the rest of their career or life as a policeman or woman in that rank and not be promoted. But when you got in there, then you discover that, in that section too, it's a specialized kind of thing where in terms of dealing with the animals, that's a specialist, kind of a qualification that is needed that not anyone could have. But the question would then go, why put any Tom, Dick, or Harry to that unit if it is that they don't have the requisite skills and training?
I was listening to your question with interest, and I was wondering exactly where you were going because that also I wanted to say, and I will add, even though you pointed it out, that that is another department of the Guyana Police Force. It is a specialized area. And while persons might ask, why would you put someone there who has no experience? Stan, do we have horse riding schools in this country? Are we so au fait that we have persons specially trained in that department? No, but we do have a very young and vibrant officer there who, as a part of the force policy, he has introduced in his heading the department the training, equitation training. And because we wanted the administration wanted diversification, we have the mounted section in the regions also. So persons will go to that department and they will learn to ride the horse. The Ghana Police Force is an on the job training. So I do not see why persons, would want to have that kind of perspective towards that department.
And not just that department, but
And
departments.
there are other departments.
Deputy Superintendent, you are aware that most of it's not going not necessarily to paint anyone with any white brush, but you are aware that most people,
Hmm.
uh, particularly if they join, there are some departments that they already have the eyes on that they
Exactly.
want to be in.
Yes.
And if it is that you don't put them there, then it's a problem. One of those departments happens to be traffic. Irrespective, they don't mind if you put them in traffic at Timbuktu, long as they're traffic.
Be- because it's the perception of many that it's a very lucrative area to be in. It's also an area that gives them trouble. You understand? And it's the wrong perception. It is the wrong perception. I don't know why they have that view. I do not know.
So lots of times when a rank is transferred or moved around, as you're saying, on the job training, it's to be able to train that person
Yeah, you
as
have
they
to
move.
go. You have to have the training. You come if a rank is transferred to my office. We have to teach the rank how to compute leave, how to maintain our records, how to do. No one can just walk into my office and think, oh, I have arrived, I know what to do. So it's like with any other department, you have to be taught what to do. And the thing about it is that people do not like what they do, but it's an honest living. And if you learn to love what you're being paid to do, They might sleep better at nights.
2264762 is the number to call if it is you've got a question. And the phone line is going. Let's take another call. Good evening.
Hello, good night.
Yes, good night.
Good night. I'm calling from Mexico. I would like to speak to Miss Moore.
She's hearing
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Okay. When I was previous police constable,
Yes.
and I reapplied for the job in sometime last year, and I was. They called me back and tell me I must go to an interview. I went in town like about 3 times, and I never got through with the interview.
You said you were a former member of the Ghana Police Force.
Yeah.
Um, you left the job for
Yeah,
reasons known best to you, or you retired?
no, I wrote my what is it called?
You wrote your resignation.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
reapplied back for the job. I went up there in Georgetown.
Yes.
And I find out what the procedure is. I have to reapply, and I reapply, and like a week after they called me, must go for interview, and I went up there in Georgetown, and I never got through with the interview up to this date. And when Mr. Hickins went on the course at Sikibo, I talked to him, and he said he would get back to me, but until now he didn't get back to me.
Okay, ma'am. I'm unable to say at this time what the problem might be. However, there are certain extenuating circumstances which may prevent you from um, being re-enlisted. Nonetheless, I don't know what your case is. Will you provide me, please, with your number and rank? Rank, with your number and name. That's all. Would you like to give it to me off the air, please?
Yeah.
Could you take us off the air?
All right.
Hold on.
Yes, we will do that. Let me see. I'm new also to this. I think I've got to hold that. And you can take the camera. Let's see if you could go right ahead and do that as we remind persons. It's just about 21 hours, 43, where you're on the program. And, oh no, I think we lost. Yeah, hopefully,
Call back, please.
yeah, hopefully if they can call back.
And if you don't mind, I'll take your information on air.
All right. Now, one of the things as we move on, uh, persons would like to know about is recently we'd have seen in the press also a lot of ranks who were featured needing, overseas medical attention. When it comes to the welfare of ranks who may get ill or for whatever the condition is, how is the administration treating with situations like that?
Usually, the administration always steps up. Some persons choose to go to social media rather than approach the administration, and in a number of circumstances, you find that we're the last to know, or someone tells us, or someone sees it. But the administration, for as long as I have known, through the welfare department, has always tried to be as helpful as possible to those persons.
And even if it is that they don't have to, in terms of require any overseas treatment, it's right here.
Yes.
They're taken care of also.
Yes.
All right. We're gonna take another call. Caller, good evening to you.
Yeah, hello, good evening. This is in person that called just now.
Yes, ma'am. May I have your regulation number?
21567.
Your name?
Roy Hendricks. It's a male.
It's a male. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You're singing a bit. Inaudible.
Maybe they,
Hendricks,
maybe,
Roy Hendricks, you said?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, sir. My office number is 2267460
2,
67460,
yeah.
and my contact number is
Mm-hmm.
632
Yeah.
1204. Feel free to call me tomorrow. Um, Call me about 10:30.
What is your contact number?
The office number is 2267460,
Yeah.
and my cell phone number is 632
Yeah.
1204.
Yeah. 04.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome, sir. Do have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming through. Let's hope we'll be able to get a couple more questions in on this very interesting Police and You Tonight program. Where, in case you're just joining us, either on Facebook or Instagram, or even right here live on 102.5 VOG's FM radio. Your questions will definitely be answered by Deputy Superintendent Moore. Deputy Superintendent, we talk about the welfare of ranks also. There are opportunities that the Ghana Police Force provides to ranks and file for training, both
Yes.
locally and, as a matter of fact, internationally or regionally also. My department, as a matter of fact, that we had, which is the Corporate Communications Unit, is no such stranger coming in and recognizing that many of the ranks were on training, paid for by the Guyana Police Force, in focus areas that were necessary and vital to their area of work.
Yes.
What the question that obtains, and I know you started to answer it earlier, is given that they would have found a niche, not necessarily my ranks, I don't want you to target them, right? But given that they would have found a niche in a particular area, whether it is, let's say, it being CID, detective, or what's not, why would you want to then move them to go over to do something else when you would have trained and this rank? You recognize that they can give you the best service in that particular area, and then they move to something else where they have to now relearn.
Okay. I'm listening to you speaking so passionately about your ranks.
Now, just throw
So,
that there.
no, 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 no. But you see, you have to understand, Stan, that when those ranks are transferred, it is for some reason or the other. And some ranks become complacent. So when they're no longer as good as that rank might be, and they fail to perform to the expectation of that divisional or branch commander, they're going to have them replaced with someone else who will work. You see, sometimes ranks take things for granted. And so they behave as though they're indispensable. So it's not that the administration would want to just up and transfer a rank, and the rank is doing quite well in that department or in that division, but it's based on a recommendation by the divisional or branch commander seeking to have the rank removed and placed somewhere else, perhaps where, learning a new skill would be in the best interest of the rank.
It's just about 21 hours 50. Let's see if we could take another call. Caller, very good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. Welcome to Police and You.
Good evening.
Good
You know,
evening, ma'am.
I'm calling for make this complaint again. I called on the station already, and y'all know about it. The wash bay next to me, the by the pelting down the house every night, and I call the station, Grove Diamond Station, and sometimes they come, and the last two times they do it, the buy ain't come. Here we tell me, here what the officer tell me, fell back. How could I do that? I have a disability, my husband has a disability, and there's the advantage we get in.
That's
Was
very unfortunate,
was the
ma'am.
area? What was your address?
This is Diamond, that in Diamond, 19th Street.
19th Street Diamond. And could you give us a number, contact number for you?
Um, 216 2957.
2957.
Yeah,
216-2957. All right, we're gonna
yeah.
have someone call you shortly, and deal with that matter. Thanks for coming through. All right, Ms. Moore, I can see that even members of the public would like to be able to raise their administrative issues or their welfare issues with you. But as we
Yes.
talk about welfare issues, one of the things that uh, comes to mind on this subject is, given the fact that over the last almost 2 years, we've been in the pandemic, which means that the Ghana Police Force has not been able to conduct any of its training
Yes.
for recruitment.
Yes.
There are many who are knocking on the doors to come into the police force and to join the police force.
Yes.
Um, what is the way forward with that? Has there been anything definitive on when a training is going to start? I know what happens is that you've allowed persons to write the test, the entrance
Yes.
test,
Yes.
and they're basically on file and
And
awaiting.
awaiting, yes.
Is it still that, or is there any light at the end of the tunnel for
That
those
is
who
all we can do at the moment, Stan.
all you can do?
At the moment, yes. We recently hired some civilian, but they were very that was for a particular area, right? We did some recruitment. That was for a particular area. The other areas of the force, we were unable to do anything there at present.
Someone sent this question. Good night, Ms. Moore. Can a policeman in good standing be terminated because of breaking the COVID-19 curfew?
Oh yes, definitely. Now we're the lawmakers, and it is expected that we adhere to the laws. And so when they violate the COVID 19, the measures that are in place and they are placed before the court, that's it. Goodbye. Remember, actions have consequences.
So someone is now asking another question. For you to explain this to them, it says, I was re-enlisted 2 years ago, but I was told I will not get back my years of service. How does that work?
Okay, stand. There are persons who would have been given a second chance at the job. Some would have walked off for brighter pastures. Some might have withdrawn. Now, when you walk off because you have more important things to do rather than do it the right way, the way you're taught when you enter training school and you're going through your training, that you have to make a request to the Commissioner of Police and you have to wait for that approval. So they're just up and walk off and gone. And we terminate the service. And then a few years down the line, because of age and all of that, they're still young and we give them another chance. No, the ministry will not acknowledge that because they walked off. They did not go with the approval of the commissioner. So that in itself, that will not hold. We cannot merge an illegal withdrawal because that is exactly what the notice reads.
I'm going to see if I could squeeze in a final call before we actually get to put a wrap on it. Then get to ask you all my questions, and I definitely will have to have you back in this program. Caller, very good evening to you.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Yes, good evening. Can you turn on your volume of your radio, please?
Yes, hold on.
Go ahead.
Yes, there are two issues I want to raise with you all. I was halfway in your program when I turned on my radio. The first, I'll leave it the last first. Now, I overheard the question of where someone who has had a certain amount of service, but for some reason or the other, has not been promoted for some time. Maybe they may reach the rank of corporal or sergeant and no farther, and they'll be there for some time. Now, I think what the process, I presume, should apply, there are two things that actually have to come into being. One, your ACR, that means your annual confidential report that's supposed to be submitted from your division to headquarters. And that is specifically clear as regards your performance for the whole year. And secondly, they emphasize you must take the promotion exam. If you fail to write a promotion exam, then you cannot move forward. You'll have to be static. So those are the two areas I think has to be applied for one to go forward. Or for some specific duty, and he has gotten on the spot promotion. The other issue is where someone has been placed before the court for some criminal offense. The matter either dismissed or discharged. Dismissed because of insufficient evidence. Discharge is that you have not had witnesses to testify in court. Now, during that period, that police officer will be interdicted from duty. When that matter has been completed, now it does not give him the prerogative for him to be reinstated, because under the Disciplinary Act, there is a section where he can be charged departmentally and be placed, and then after being dismissed. And there's a section in the Constitution which does not give him the privilege to be reinstated. So those are the two areas actually I want to just laze with you as a concerned citizen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller. And you are quite correct in both instances.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Yes, you are correct in both instances. And indeed, under Section 2123 of the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Commissioner does have the right to reinstate any rank. Um, the thing is, finding before all of that can happen and before the rank is dismissed and all of that, he still has to peruse the files. And that is where, well, I wouldn't say it's a problem, but that is something that he has to deal with. And to reach to the point where, should he choose to dismiss or to not reinstate the rank, to dismiss the rank, it's burdensome on him. Hence the process. Now, in terms of the very first point you made, indeed, promotion is one of the primary factors. It is. And so I do thank you for your observations, and thank you so much for calling in.
As we get ready to put a wrap on it right now on tonight's program, time, I tell you, funny how time flies, and there's definitely a lot more that we have to be able to deal with. One of the things I wanted to be able to have you give a comment on, and I'll share my perspective on quickly. Now, earlier I asked you the question if someone, can be terminated. Someone asked if someone could be terminated because of breaking COVID-19 curfew, and you did say yes. Then they rebutted by saying, then how many ranks actually break the same violation but never get terminated? What are we doing in the system? And for me, I'd like to basically say here is that oftentimes this is where we err. Too often we're looking at what is happening with others and we are not paying attention to ourselves. And that is where the problem happens. We tell ourselves that and it's not just within the Guyana Police Force. It seems to be a mentality across the length and breadth of Guyana where we tell ourselves that because this person is doing it, I can do it. A policeman stops someone on the road for speeding. The first thing they like to say to the policeman, but the one behind me or the one in front of me is speeding. Deal with your issue, and that is what many of us fail to do. I don't know if you would like to.
You're quite right, Stan. And the thing is, the first thing the person asked you, how many others have not broken the COVID law? Unfortunately, they weren't caught. Because if they were caught, they would have been placed before the court. That's my response to that.
Definitely. It's certainly been an interesting night here, Miss Moore, on The Police and You. And I'd like to publicly invite you to come again. I know you're a very busy woman, but we'll be able to squeeze you in again because there's so much that many persons, not just citizens, but policemen and women have that they'd like to share and flesh out. And this, I believe, has been a very interesting evening. So I want to say a thank you for joining us on The Police and You tonight.
Thank you for having me, Stan. The pleasure was mine.
And of course, thanks to those of you who joined us via radio as well as via Facebook and YouTube on The Police and You. The name is Stan Gouveia on behalf of all of the Corporate Communications Unit. The technical people in studio tonight, Mata Badal, Van Rossum, happy birthday by the way. We've also got Hussein and Brown. A big thank you, and the crew from NCN who made it possible. Thanks for joining us. Do have a good rest of your night.